Hello and welcome, Must Players, to episode 28. I can't believe we're 28 episodes into 2019 of the Must Play podcast. Beside me, as always, Julian Price, Dave Fish-Pether. How are you, gents?
Good.
As always, we are chatting the latest in film, TV, video games, as well as tech. And joining us on the line, a man that is normally sitting in this very room. He's at home at the moment because he is preoccupied with some very important things. Ryan Mason, are you there? Can you hear us?
Hello guys. This is the best day of the year for me.
Sensational. I mean, run us through what you're doing right now.
Well, I'm on the Destiny, and I'm on with cameraman Tim.
Yep.
Who's sucking. We're just running a heroic mission right now because we've got to power level our way up to level 900 is the goal.
So this is Shadowkeep, yeah?
Yeah, explain to us.
This is Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, new DLC.
Came out today. And when I spoke to you
today.
at work today on the phone, you said, I can't come to the podcast. I'm so sorry, mate. Really poor excuse, I know. I've got to play Destiny 2.
That's very true. It is very true. I couldn't make it tonight. This is taking priority.
Can you run me through? I mean, why is this so important? Because Destiny 2 had a very slow start.
Yeah, it did. The game, let's be honest, I would say it sucked compared to the first one when it first got released. But what is the most important thing about this DLC is that Destiny and Bungie have ditched Activision. So this is the first DLC solely Bungie. They're not getting influenced by the big studio that is Activision.
And how is it? Early review.
Early review, yeah, it's great. There is a heap of changes, like more changes than what we've had in any other DLC. They had a really bad start this morning. So this came out about 4 a.m. our time. But the servers were so overloaded that people were on waiting times and queues.
Yeah, I read that they had to shut them down for a bit, didn't they?
They had to shut them down. So they had the most concurrent players they've ever had in the 7 years that Destiny's been around. So a heap of players have come back for this DLC.
And you weren't one of them, mate, unfortunately. You were working.
Well, the funny thing was, so they fixed the... I was at work. I wasn't getting up at 4 a.m. to play it. Let's be serious. I'll miss the podcast.
That's
but I went
actually
up
surprising.
To be honest, I'm amazed that you didn't wake up at 4 a.m. to play.
No, and then I went to work, at 7, and then I was reading Noel had get on because the servers were shut down. So I was like, oh, that's a shame. And then they fixed it about, 2 hours before I got home from work, so good timing.
Well, we can hear you feverishly clicking in the background, so we'll let you get back to the game. Thank you so much for taking 2 minutes out, even though I know you were still playing while you were chatting to us. And enjoy the rest of your night. How long do you reckon you're putting in? Is this a couple of hours worth?
Are you working tomorrow?
Yeah, I am working tomorrow. I'll be putting in probably, what's the time now? It's 8 o'clock. Probably another 2 hours, I recken, trying to get to level 900.
By the way, what an irrelevant question. You know that Meso is playing this until 10 o'clock, whether or not he's working tomorrow. Jules, come on.
Or just having an all-nighter.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a few more hours to have.
Well, look, Meso, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy your night of gaming. I wish I was there with you online. I'm going to have to download Destiny 2 to check it all out because between him and cameraman Tim, I think this is going to be dominating their life for the next couple of...
It's the only way we'll be able to communicate with them. We'll have to go on to Destiny 2 and be like, guys, you there?
Perfect time to get on board, guys, because you will get the entire Destiny 2 game, all the DLCs for free, and all you have to buy is Shadowkeep.
How much is it?
It is $54 on Steam.
Oh, that's not the cheapest DLC. That's a full-price game.
Yeah, well, you're getting a full game if you don't have Destiny at all.
All right. Thanks, Meso. We'll talk to you next week. Hopefully you're in this room and you've had a shower.
Cheers, guys.
See you, mate.
See you, mate.
Ryan Mason there, our behind-the-scenes extraordinaire, getting down and dirty with a little bit of Destiny. Into the news of the week, and obviously the biggest one for us. I mean, I let out a little bit of a squeal when I saw this online. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty much that, exactly. It's that our boy Tom Holland is back in the MCU as Spider-Man. Fish as our movie guy. I mean, it just gives me tingles.
We knew he was coming back.
We didn't.
Yes, we did. When we had our big argument about it when Sony pulled out, I was like, there is no way they are not going to bring him back.
It would have been a pretty dumb decision for them not to bring him back.
I am not surprised even in the slightest.
But it is nice to have that in writing. It's
like
confirmed
it is.
that he's back. There's a third movie. He's
yeah.
back in the MCU. It's all going to work magically together again.
Apparently, he's only signed on for 2 films. That's the extent of the deal.
Well, that'd be a record for any actor playing a Spider-Man.
Yeah,
role.
absolutely it would. But I'm saying in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where it could go on for another 10 years, this next set of phases, to have him only be in one more standalone and presumably one more crossover, and then they're going to have a whole suite of Sony-specific ones, apparently. It seems like the deal is a little bit more convoluted than we perhaps know. But I wanted to share something with you both quickly. I'm sure you caught up with it online earlier this week. Tom Holland's reaction was one that I absolutely loved. So we'll just play a real small snippet of it right now. I love this, by the way. Wolf was it's subtle at the beginning. Leonardo DiCaprio acts this so perfectly, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking leaving!
And that was my reaction.
you were that guy.
Ready to just start fighting someone. All right, we'll leave it there. I mean, we can go on for ages. I could just watch that over and over and over again to basically exemplify my excitement. But it was huge news during the week. Obviously, the excitement's worn off a little bit now. But good to know that our boy is back.
What's the Sony... So are there going to be Sony-specific Spider-Man movies, or
Apparently
only
so.
Spider-Man characters? Because I know there's a bunch of villains, like is it Morbius, the living vampire, or what? The Jared Leto movie. I don't know. There's one coming. There's another villain from Venom 2.
See, this is the point. They weren't very specific. They basically said there will be more Spider-Man films outside of the MCU, but what they are, we don't know.
Okay.
So we'll wait and see on that front. In terms of other big TV/movie news during the week, I mean, it's not much to go off, sort of like the Spider-Man one, but we got this little bit of a teaser for Stranger Things.
And that's all it was. It was a teaser.
Yeah, I mean, it goes for about 40 seconds. It does look pretty cool. It's very ominous, as it always is in Stranger Things, and I love the way it flicks to the upside down, and it ends with a really great hint as to what we can expect for season 4 Fish. That they're not in Hawkins anymore. Which
Where are they then?
I think we all expected, but do they go to Russia effectively?
But those bells, a lot of people are speculating that are they in London? Saying that that's Big Ben's bells. That's what a few people have been speculating online. But
I just wonder, does this mean that we're going to have a completely new cast? Like,
no way. Millie Bobby Brown shared this on her Instagram.
11, I reckon 11 will keep going, but I reckon all the other characters are gone. That's my early prediction. If they're going international, if they're somewhere else in America, you know they're going to get caught up in it. But if they are overseas, unless they're doing some weird Spider-Man Far From Home sort of vacation where it just follows them, I genuinely think that we're going to get a new cast of characters, which, to be honest, I would like. My favourite thing about the last season was the new characters. I felt like the original...
I don't want to see new characters. I want to keep following on their journey.
Yeah, but the original group, I feel like we're pretty much done and dusted. Mike took a back seat, really. Destin was the only one with...
We haven't even seen Susie interact with them yet, other than their little duet. Susie Poo.
That's all that she needed.
Her
character has peaked. You can't go anywhere from there, Jules. Anyway, it's good that we got that confirmation. No release date from what I can tell. It's literally just Stranger Things 4 is happening. But be excited for that. I would gather it's going to be Halloween, not next year, probably the year after.
Probably the year after.
Yeah.
So it was a very early tease.
I'm going for 2021.
I'd be very surprised if it came out next year.
Now, 2 nights ago, the 3 of us got together to watch a new film. We were invited along to a preview screening of the Will Smith blockbuster Gemini Man, and it's double the Will Smith fish.
Double the Will Smith. So
It's the only way to describe this film.
Tell me something. Basically,
Why is it so
Will
hard
Smith
for
is
you to
being
kill
hunted
this
by a
man?
younger version of himself.
Yeah.
He's been cloned because he is the
He knew
ultimate
every
robot, basically.
move of mine before I made it.
And they're never going to have a sniper as good as him again, so they cloned him, and
I'd have him
now
right
they're
there.
trying to kill him. So
Take
they
the
send
shot.
him to
But
kill
they
him.
want to kill him because all he wants to do is
Can I just say real quick? I don't know how
he'd be
in depth
gone,
we can go with our
like a
reviews because I
ghost.
don't think there are too many out online. Oh no, there is. There's a couple. I mean, it's got a bad
Who is
Rotten
he?
Tomatoes score, but besides that, I can't. Again, none of the big guns, so I don't know how much we're allowed to say. Was there an embargo
Not that I saw.
No. Anyway, so we went along to the preview screening, and just one mistake straight away, like you said.
I think I know why
like
he's
the
as good
best
as you.
sniper going around.
He is you.
We didn't see him. I didn't see him snipe at all. I missed the
you
first
were
hour
5 years
and a
ago,
half.
they made
No.
me.
I wasn't an hour and a half.
Chose me because there's
10
never been
minutes late. I
anybody
missed
like me.
the opening scene.
The opening scene was him
We have to
sniping
end
someone.
this
But
right now.
that's right. Like, other than that, it's all great.
You have all of
Yeah,
his
this
gifts
was
without
Spidey.
his pain. You made a person out of another person. Then you sent me.
Like Jason Bourne-esque sort of business going on. He's not at all. Like, he's actually pretty bad. He doesn't understand how the Secret Service works. He's like, how do they know where I am? Because that's how spies work, man. And there's also a lot of times
Yeah,
where
he didn't
the young-
realize he had a tracker in him.
Yeah,
It's
it's
mate,
like, dude, like, come on.
Spoiler.
I knew you had a tracker in you. But then the younger version of him like gets the jump on him way too many times and not in like clever ways. But like, I don't know, how did you like going into this movie? I think
I had no expectations.
Yeah, and
Which was
kinda,
fine, and I think that's why it was entertaining to watch.
I feel like I was quite entertained throughout the whole film. Like, it's a silly premise, and it's silly, you know, we're really going, the whole thing is that you get 2 Will Smiths, right? And we'll talk about that in a second. But, like, I was like, okay, Will Smith fighting himself. I like Will Smith. That'll be fun. And there's some good action. There's some great action.
The best scene for mine was when young Will Smith is on that dirt
motorbike, yeah.
and old Will Smith is just standing on his feet, and he's basically beating him up with the back wheel of the
tail
motorbike.
whips him and
It's awesome. Like,
so cool.
That's, I gotta say, however they did that CG, because clearly they're not actually hitting Will Smith in the face with a dirt bike, they managed it to be like realistic enough that it wasn't out of place.
Yeah, that's right.
In a movie with 2 Will Smiths.
Yeah. Right. And I felt that like the weapons that they use, like the guns were just big guns. Like there's that in the final scene, there's like this huge shotgun sort of thing that they're using, and you can just see the bolts flying throughout the building, and it's just tearing the place apart. I just like action wise, I thought it was pretty cool. But I think the biggest talking point about this movie though is the facial stuff that we're getting.
We had young
making
Will
the
Smith
young
in a
Will
movie
Smith.
again. It was
The de-aging tech is really coming leaps and bounds.
It looked great.
They did a
I
really
was
good
really
job.
impressed by it. Like you believe that it's a young Will Smith. Like he's a whiny little. Yeah, but that more adds to his youngness. But like I think it looked good.
I think it definitely looked good. I don't know if it sounded that great. I think similar to what they did with a couple of the characters in It Chapter 2, they've sped up his voice to raise its pitch just a little bit, and that sounded a bit off to me. That being said, I mean, technically, it looks like him in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It looks pretty bloody good. And I think even though you're staring at it for the entire time, judging the technology, it's not like when they used it on Samuel L. Jackson in Captain Marvel, because it was kind of subtle. He was a secondary character.
Yeah.
He's
on the screen a lot.
Yeah, he's a main character in this. And I got to say,
I was looking for the little flaws, and I couldn't see too
Because
many.
the one thing that I notice a lot with these de-aging things, or any sort of CG on someone else's face, is the float. There's like a weird float that comes around, and like I think every now and then I may notice it here a little bit. But
when there's a
not
bit
too
more
much.
motion than you would expect.
Yeah.
But in the close-up stuff, it looked good.
It was pretty impressive.
But
I
they,
gotta
they shot the whole movie in this new technology as well. There was like 3D plus, essentially. It's a much higher frame rate than movies have been shot on in recent times.
It
And
looks better than any other 3D
the
movie that I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, I was quite surprised it was in 3D, to be honest, because that's not really a thing
Yeah,
anymore.
it was so bloody annoying because I wear glasses and then I have to like put 3D glasses over my glasses.
But I thought it was quite crisp. Yeah, it was nice for 3D always looks alright these days, but like that was a next. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
I just feel like this film was a tech demo. It's almost like they said, "Hey, we can have old Will Smith and young Will Smith on screen at the same time," and that was the focus. And they're like, "Let's just work in a story now. The story doesn't matter."
Yeah.
And that's how I felt it was. I mean, it was very stop-start. There wasn't a lot of great cause and effect.
No, it was
but
bad writing.
It is what it is. And I think the thing that annoys me the most is, and I can't spoil, whatever reveals there are. But there should have been so many more Will Smiths than there were. Like, it almost needed to be a Matrix Reloaded, Mr. Anderson. I feel like they could have gone to the next level.
They really could have. I found the other, quickly talking about the writing again, every time that Will Smith, because he sort of meets up with this chick, and he's sort of explaining his spy life to him, and for the people out there who've seen True Lies, Bill Paxton's character in that, he's pretending to be a spy and hitting on Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife, and he's all like, oh yeah, I gotta be quiet because people are listening. That's how he was talking throughout this whole movie. And I was like, you don't sound like a real spy. It's really annoying me.
At one point in the movie, Sandro leans over to him and he goes, this whole movie is just an excuse for Will Smith to have a holiday.
Oh, absolutely.
He goes to some really great locales.
He goes to some beautiful places. In one scene, he's literally in a bathrobe, and it's not just him. It's like him and his fellow cast members, just like hanging out at the Budapest baths. I'm like, mate, this was an excuse for you to go to some beautiful places of Europe, I reckon. It's in cinemas in a couple of weeks.
October 10.
October 10. So
I would watch it in cinemas. If you're going to watch it, go see it in cinemas, because it's a cinematic film.
Beck disagrees. She says wait for it to pop up on Netflix.
Oh, well, you're not going to get the 3D and
I know
that great 3D.
And I must say it was good 3D.
I'll avoid that.
Now, before we get into the second review of the show, which is mine of Link's Awakening, Jules, there's a little bit of news about PokemonGo Fest, obviously in Chicago this year, but there's a push to have it here in Australia.
Well, Melbourne has actually officially put in their bid to host PokemonGo 2020 in Melbourne, and they've got support from the City of Melbourne, Visit Victoria, Creative Victoria, the local member for Paran.
That's so cool.
Everyone is backing them, and they've put in their bid. It was, it was due yesterday. It's all signed off. They've submitted everything, and now they have to wait to hear back. This is essentially the world's biggest AR festival.
Yep.
Pokemon Go is still huge.
It's making a lot of money.
It dropped off, and then we've just seen it come back again. Like, I know quite a few people who have picked it up recently again. It's going crazy.
Well, they're releasing a lot more for it. I think in that first 6 months, we really got nothing. It was just, this is the game, play it. And a lot of people did fall off there. But recently, they've been releasing a lot more Pokemon for you to catch. I think the entire 4th gen was only released a couple of weeks ago. So
and the integration as well with the Pokemon Switch game. Mm-hmm. I admittedly tested that out and haven't picked it up since. But I did transfer some characters from my Pokemon Go account to my Nintendo Switch.
I know we're the sporting capital of the world, but do we have enough open space in the city for a full-on Pokemon Go Fest? Because people will turn out in force.
Yeah, well, the mayor has said that Melbourne is an ideal destination for business event organisers, and she is looking forward to exploring how they can work together with the team in Melbourne to activate different areas of the cities.
Okay, I love, by the way, that we have a formal
the
response from Lord Mayor Sally Capp.
Is all over this.
Didn't expect that to be on Must Play, did you? That's right, we are real journalists.
Anyway, good luck to them. I think it'd be great for Melbourne.
I think that's a good idea as well, to put it in different spots, because
they're going out to Paran as well. So
yeah, it sort of opens up the whole idea of Pokemon Go, right? Is getting around to all the Pokestops, or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
So if you had that there were little different pockets of this festival going on, that could really open up a lot for
the aim for it as well is to host it around the same time as now, when big things are coming, like PAX, drawing all the gamers in. Host it in October, have Pokemon Go Fest run for a week or 2 weeks, and just really pump up the fact. Niantic are going to consider it, so they've accepted the bid.
Is there something special, like, for a gamer, like, so the one in Chicago, so if we were to go there, would you catch like a special Pokemon? That is there?
I think that's the idea.
Yeah, because that's awesome.
I'm not going to be flying to Chicago for it, but if it's in Melbourne, I might turn out to get my
download Pokemon Go again, Santo.
Yeah, look, to be honest, my faith in Nintendo games has been shattered a little bit. We have, particularly the mobile ones. Mario Kart.
Not loving Mario Kart, are you?
Not a big fan. And for the past 2 days, I have been pumping my time into Link's Awakening. I finished the game earlier today, and I quickly slapped together this review. let's have a quick watch, and then I'll give you some more thoughts on the backside of it, all right? Here it is for Link's Awakening on the Nintendo Switch. 26 years after Link's Awakening released, the Game Boy Classic has been given a HD makeover and is out on the Nintendo Switch. I never played the original, and for many of my Zelda-loving friends, it's a must-play. But without any nostalgia for Koholint Island or its inhabitants, I've walked away with all the frustrations of a game made in the 90s. True to the original, Link's Awakening's world is set on a grid. Trees, grass, water, everything is square, colourful and inviting. Koholint Island is incredibly dense, but easily the smallest of Zelda's overworlds. For that reason, regular frame rate stutters, particularly when you head outside from a dungeon or sprint for some time, are unacceptable. And it happens all too often on a system that can handle the much more expansive Breath of the Wild. Unlike its contemporary, Link's Awakening is standard Zelda fare. 8 dungeons, 8 bosses, and a whole heap of item barriers keeping things linear. None of that's a problem, but it becomes one when there's only one way forward, hidden within obscure trading quests. Hats off to anyone who didn't need a guide to work out that swapping a bow for dog food, then bananas to bribe a monkey, is how you get into the castle. That is some top-tier 90s game design bullshit. Inside the dungeons, things get much better. Hands down, they contain some of the most thought-provoking puzzle design in the entire series. All up, it took me 12 hours on the tougher hero mode to wake the windfish with a little walkthrough help. It was never going to be easy as the first Zelda release to follow Breath of the Wild. Sure, Link's Awakening has added a dungeon builder, and if I felt 6 item buttons on the Switch weren't enough, I can't imagine how infuriating having just 2 on the Game Boy must have been. But even with a new lick of paint, if you don't approach it with rose-tinted glasses, Link's Awakening feels like a game from a bygone era.
Not a bad score.
Not the worst score.
didn't destroy it.
No. Look, it's still a good game. I mean, you can't...
Sounds like it was a bit cryptic at times.
It certainly was. And I mean, I highlighted it there, but it's hard to do or hard to flesh that out when you're doing a review in 2.
Yeah.
But basically, there was a point where there are bits and pieces that I would consider side quests, you know, helping out characters that you meet in the world, getting them items that they'd like, and then you might get a small reward. That is basically every RPG.
Yeah.
In this game, you know where you need to go. For example, I needed to get into the castle there, like I said, and there was just a monkey hanging around near the castle. I knew the monkey was hungry because he was telling me that, and you can say, all right, monkeys like bananas, great, but how do you get bananas? Well, I know a bloke who I'd met earlier who has bananas, great.
I've got a banana
He said he liked canned food, but I had no idea. How am I supposed to get this canned food, right? Anyway, turns out that I already had an item that I'd picked up, which I just needed to give to another NPC, right?
Yeah.
Who would then give me the canned food so I can get the bananas so I can get... Anyway, I was dicking around in that world for about an hour and a half before I bothered
Link's
to look...
trying to save the world here, and he's going on this stupid bloody adventure.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's...
Kill the monkeys, Link!
No. It's a fine game, but it is an old game. And they've...
Because it's a Game Boy game, right?
Yes.
It's based off a Game Boy game.
For better or worse, they've stuck really true to what it was originally. It's just got a new lick of paint. It does look great. Screen scrolls a lot better. They've added a few things in, like a dungeon creator. And you can do hero mode from the start, which is sort of like the extra hard difficulty, which is what I did. And I really enjoyed that challenge. But just generally speaking, the hint system that it's got, I mean, if you're going to have a supremely linear game, and don't get me wrong, I don't like hand-holding in video games. I don't like it to say, you need to go here and do this, then do there, go on that, you know, whatever. That's annoying. But when it's so cryptic and it could literally be anything in this world that you just got to go and talk to you know, lead you on a couple of trades. And mind you, that's not the only trade quest in the game. Yeah. There were a couple others that I didn't even bother with. I was just online straight away because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do it.
It was going to be a
so...
Yeah, that is annoying. And I find when you get to a point where you get stuck and there is there is no explanation of where to go.
Mm.
Like you said, it's not hand-holding. That's like these games these days, are generally... You've been given the
Follow the
information.
arrow.
And when you get to a point where you're frustrated, like, that's not good. And yes, for a Game Boy game 20 years ago, you expect that sort of thing. But that's interesting that it's cool that they kept true, because I feel like if I was a big fan of the Game Boy game and I knew the cryptic rubbish that was in it, I would know to go get the bananas and do all that sort of stuff. And it's like, look at this fresh coat of paint. But like, if you're bringing in new players like us, you need to... Yeah.
And that's the thing. I never played it, so I wasn't looking at it with, nostalgia glasses on and thinking, oh, look at this, it's so great and fresh. I was genuinely playing it like a sequel almost to Breath of the Wild, which is the last Zelda game that came out.
You definitely looked at it the wrong way.
That's fine. Like, I don't mind the linear Zelda, but coming off that, I really struggled with this one. And look, I would still recommend people to play it.
Yeah,
but
I really want to play it. It looks cool.
Well, Matt says he appreciates your review, and he's just picked up his first Switch.
Oh,
yes,
fantastic, Matt.
He sent me a picture of it today. I'm very, very proud of you,
What games did you pick
exactly.
up?
What have you actually bought to start with? That's what we want to know, Matt. If you can let us know in the comments below.
I'm pretty keen for Breath of the Wild. So
You got to play Breath of the
I
Wild
think
first.
Yeah.
Or maybe play Link's Awakening first, so you're not disappointed.
Well, I'm quite... Because Breath of the Wild, the problem I found with Breath of the Wild was that it wasn't linear. Like, I wanted some linear business going on, so maybe I will like this a little more.
Oh, I reckon I will like it, because I've been playing A Link to the Past on the SNES emulator, and it's been great fun.
A Link to the Past is better than this game.
Okay.
I know Tim Finesse, our cameraman, absolutely loves it, but I got to say, it's not as good. And to be honest... It actually stutters quite a bit. The frame rate does chug.
Yeah, right.
And for a first-party Nintendo game, that's unheard of. I know Zelda did, but it was more of a slowdown. This genuinely looks like it stutters a number of times. So I was surprised at that. I thought they would fix it off the back of E3, but that did not happen. So a bit disappointing in that regard. Now, Jules, I understand you're playing The Surge 2. Is that correct?
Yes, and it's really hard. And
It's
I'm
hard.
struggling. I'm not a. I'm
mean,
not
it
a
looks
soul.
hard.
It's like Dark
this is the
Souls, but
Souls-esque,
future tech. And you just keep upgrading this biosuit you're wearing until you're just like covered in armor and have epic weapons, and it's full on.
Looks
But
good.
It is fun. The good thing I like about it is you're meant to die, and you're meant to die a lot.
Yeah.
And
Get
when,
used to dying.
Yeah, get used to dying. You die, and you kind of the doors you've unlocked remain unlocked, which I was really stressed about when I first started playing the game. But
that you reset.
yeah. You can still you got to, but the enemies all respawn.
Yeah.
So if you die, you go back to your spawn point, but you still got to hack through all those enemies. But you don't need to go and find the panel that unlocks
key,
the
yeah.
door. Like
Yeah.
it's all really straightforward and fun. You get different parts from killing enemies, and you use those parts. Like you'll get like 25 or 50 parts when you kill someone. Use those parts to upgrade, like level up, upgrade your armor. You can craft things. Like it's all really, really in depth in terms of upgrading. This game is upgrade heavy, but the combat is really brutal. Like you can do moves where you hit someone straight on, and then their whole body just gets cut in half, and there's like torso over there and legs over there. The environments are really good fun as well. There's it's obviously a pretty messed up world, but for everyone to have these mecha suits.
Look at that beheading.
Yeah, there's a beheading.
Mate, this is a PG show.
I haven't finished it, but our milestone follower, according to Facebook, Adam Pether, he's finished it.
Yeah.
And he said it was pretty good.
And he loves the Souls games, so if he's given it a rap, it's a big deal.
To be honest, there are a lot of games that are not perfecting, but doing what Dark Souls did just as well, but in a slightly different way. I love that style of game. I mean, I loved Bloodborne, which again is by the same developers, but more of that I think is great, because we need more challenging games out there. I'm all for...
This is too challenging for me.
You know what? Good gameplay, though, that's fine. If you make me go on some side quest for bananas to progress, I'm not going to be happy.
That's when you're twisting your controller.
If you see an enemy that you want to kill and they're holding their weapon in their left hand or something, before you even run at them, you can tap the thumbstick, select the body part you want to aim for, and then you can try and hit that straight off the bat. But it's really there's a lot to this game.
Cool beans. Well, by the way, Matt Cockrell says he has picked up Smash Brothers, great, Breath of the Wild, great, and Dark Souls. What a trio of games to start. I'm surprised you haven't gone for Mario Odyssey. Please squeeze that in if you get a chance. It is really, really, really good. And if you need any other... we should do like a top 20 Switch games, given that we all have them. And I talk about
20
it
Switch games?
No, I'm top 20. My God, yeah. Untitled Goose Game is at the top of the list,
Speaking
obviously.
of Untitled Goose Game has gone worldwide to the point where Blink-182 are talking about it on stage at a concert.
Wow.
This is 4 developers from Melbourne, and it's just #1 in the world.
I love it.
We need to talk to these guys.
They're way too important for us now.
They're Blink-182, but important.
They were more important, too important for us a week before their game launched anyway, but that's fine. We want to run through some really quick news items before we wrap up this week. Jules, you're excited because the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV
Well, there's a bit of an
series has a
update.
director. Yep.
Yeah, Deborah Chow.
Is that the movie?
No, this is the TV series on Disney+.
Yep.
We don't have a date for it yet, but it's in development. Ewan McGregor reprising his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Deborah Chow is the director. She has directed a few of the Mandalorian episodes. It's just coming up November 12th release, same day as the launch of Disney+. She was also involved in a lot of other things that I can't remember off the top of my head. But
Great.
I'm not too familiar with her work, but I hope she does a good job.
Well, we got an official trailer to Birds of Prey, so go watch that. The Joker is out tomorrow. I think that might be the last film you and Beck go to watch before you have a kid. Is that right?
We're going to try to. Yeah.
Is that the aim?
Don't speak too soon.
We don't have a baby tonight.
And Maleficent 2 comes out in mid-October, just a couple of weeks away, and we've got a few double passes to give away, so stay tuned. We will be running through that all next week. Jules, before we go, we want to shout out our sponsor, our beverage sponsor, Moondog. They are opening their new facility.
Moondog World.
Yes, Moondog World.
In Preston. This thing is huge. It's a $9 million development. It's got like a lagoon, like rivers running
A beer
through
lagoon?
it. Well, essentially, it's a craft brewery with a pool.
Oh, but it's
No,
not.
but it's not beer in the lagoon.
Could
there be?
I don't
It's
know.
not like a Willy
Special
Wonka.
nights
sort of-
like the
No,
chocolate deal.
no. You're not swim. Well, I'm sure a few will be spilled in there. There's probably some, there's probably some percentage of beer in that pool. But it's even got a retractable roof. They've gone all out, and they're opening on Friday. This sounds huge. I don't think there's another brewery like this in Melbourne. So
Yeah, we've been
on
invited
you,
down,
Moondog.
so we will probably be there. Thank you so much, Moondog. And Jules, you wanted to give a quick shout out to Jedi Outcast.
Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast came out on Switch. It is so hard. My gosh. And I picked like the medium difficulty. It's brutal. The controls aren't exactly set up for Switch, which is what I'm struggling with. When I've played it previously, it's been on PC.
Well, it's motion controls, isn't it?
I'm not picking up those motion
Okay,
controls.
fair enough.
You know, this is me in bed at night while everyone's asleep, and I'm just like, Jedi. No, the first few levels, you don't even have a lightsaber. So the first level took me an hour and a half to finish for this old game.
Yeah, well, they're tough, just like Link's Awakening was.
I shouldn't complain that it's tough. It's good fun, and I actually want to give this one a proper review, and I'm recording every time I die. So
Okay, that's going to be a fun montage.
yeah, so much death.
Fish, anything you've been playing before we let you go for the week?
I haven't really been playing much, but it's October, and every year I do this October horror movie challenge.
That you do?
To watch 31 horror movies for the 31 days in October.
We're 2 days in,
I'm
so
2
what have you
days
watched
in.
so far?
So far, I've watched an old film from the 60s called Carnival of Souls. It was creepy as hell. And I watched another classic from the 1930s last night called The Black Cat, which starred Bela Lugosi, who was the original Dracula, and Boris Karloff, who was the original Frankenstein's monster. So it's like a meeting of the two crazies.
Is this like the Godzilla versus King Kong of the 1930s? Is that what you're telling me?
That one isn't, but they do have those.
Awesome.
There's like Frankenstein versus Dracula and all that sort of stuff. I might get to those in one of the 31 movies.
Are films from the 30s as scary as we would expect? Like, are they scary enough to worry a modern audience?
Nah, not well. Look, if you scare easily, maybe, I don't know. It's like most kids shows are scarier than these things now. But like you have to
Peppa
remember
Pig is
they're-
terrifying.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man. You have to remember like how old it is, but it's like their themes.
It was my attempt at a snort. I couldn't do it. My nose is blocked. Don't attempt to snort with a blocked nose. Sorry, Dave. I didn't mean to derail your conversation.
De-snort me. Look, it's, watching movies from that era, they're very cliched now because they were the classics. They set the bar. So now to watch them, you're kind of like, like the twists at the end and stuff are like things you would see coming a mile away. But at the time, they would have been mind-blowing. So I don't know. I really enjoy going back and watching that era, though. There's a classiness about it. I don't know.
From 1930s Dracula Frankenstein movies.
Yeah, man. That was.
I wouldn't even know how to find that to watch it.
Oh man, it was hard. I had to go down to JB and get a DVD of the Black Cat. That was the only way I could find that one.
Oh my God.
A lot of them are in public domain now, so you can watch them on YouTube.
Oh, fantastic. Well, there you go. Let us know if you want to go and check out some 1930s horror during the week. We hope Matt Cockrell enjoys his first week with a Nintendo Switch. I'm sure you absolutely will. Make sure you get onto Untitled Goose Game. We haven't even asked Jeff if he's downloaded it just yet. That's going to be my Christmas present to you, Jeff.
No, he's still trying to work out iTunes over there.
Either way, we really appreciate you putting up with us on Wednesday night. I know we said we might be on a Thursday. We're just sort of bouncing around a few days at the moment as we try to make this change work. In the meantime, we do really appreciate the fact that you are sticking with us. Make sure you head over to mustplay.net.au to keep up with what we post during the week. And of course, if there's ever a game that you'd like us to review, let us know on Facebook, Instagram, or on Twitter, and we will endeavour to either play that game or watch that movie. Gents, thanks again, as always, for joining me. Fish, you might have a baby next week. And as always, good night. Thank you again for watching.